Okay, so the scene starts off in Argentina as a university professor's been kidnapped, and the goons are over here telling him they ain't even trying to hurt bro, their boss just wants to talk to him. Just saying the word goon sounds crazy, TikTok's really ruined it. Got me feeling like I'm using New York slang. They be saying the most insane stuff, talking about some, yeah bro, I'm jacking you. Someone then suddenly knocks at the door. One of the goons goes to check it, and bro don't even try to check who it is before opening the door. Could've at least tried to check the ring doorbell. All you would have seen was, hey, what's going on? My name's Amari Sims. So he opens the door and it's a random Englishman asking to borrow some sugar. And I guess Buddy has some secret hate for Englishmen because he immediately pulls out the blick, but gets grabbed, pulls out his own and just starts forcing Buddy to eat bullets unloaded in his stomach. Pause. Over the shoulder headshot, one in the leg, and takes off Buddy's finger. He then hits the tactical roll, grabbing Buddy's gun, kicking him in the belly. Another headshot, grabs the knife and hits the Black Widow, shooting Buddy in the head, just to then hit the pose for the IG. Oh nah, he knows he's tough. But the last goon comes in, he hits him in the neck, picks up the glass and takes a sip. And there ain't even a single stain on his suit. Either he's got the same power as Duke Dennis and Gojo, or he learned the ways from Leland cause he just stays clean. But someone else then knocks on the door. He goes to check it out and gets hit from behind by a blur. A lady takes his glass and turns out he got split down the middle. Hey, and you can't even lie, even the way he got murked was clean. Straight down the middle, clean cut, no blood splatter.
Why is everything he does so clean?
The camera pans down and we see that Shorty has weapons of mass destruction as her legs, which is why she was able to slice bro in half. She then runs up the stairs in 2 steps. I know certain guys will struggle to do that, and brings down some blankets to cover the bodies. She then opens the door to let the boss in, and it's Samuel L. Jackson. Bro got blipped out the MCU and decided to copy Thanos' motives word for word, bar for bar. I'm being so dead ass. He's literally trying to do the same thing Thanos did. He starts to talk to the professor and I immediately can't take bro seriously. He has a lisp. Over here sounding like Mike Tyson and Nico from Beta Squad, just spitting everything he says. We then cut to London as one of the goats, Harry, pops out of a taxi into a meeting in a tailor shop, and he's just as clean as the other guy, if not cleaner. Him and half of them put on their glasses and they must be taking notes from their car ski using holograms to talk to each other. And I just peeped, Atachi over here was flexing the Sharon gun for no reason. I don't even think they worked through the hologram. He was just doing it to show off his $1,500 Cartier frames. So they drink to Lancelot's death and instantly move on, with Arthur saying he's preparing to start the selection process to replace him tomorrow, saying that each one of them should bring in a candidate they think is worthy. We then cut to our main character Eggsy as he's looking at himself in the mirror. Now I have no idea why his parents would decide to set him back in life like that, giving him a name like Eggsy. You couldn't think of anything else? I just know he was in the womb, mad as hell hearing them think of baby names. Eggsy's mom then calls him out, asking him to go down to the shop and buy some Rizzler so they can roll up the duck pack, and her boyfriend is over here talking crazy, giving him money and telling him they're about to show his mom a good time. I ain't gonna lie, you gonna have to run the fade immediately. And Eggsy's over here just taking it like a good boy, taking the money, checking up on his sister and leaving.
Wait, boy.
The fade has to be expeditious. I don't even know what that word meant, it just felt right. So after getting in the Rizzler, Eggsy pulls up to the pub with his guys, and he's over here saying that one day he's about to smoke Dean for the way he chats to him and his mom. And Buddy over here accidentally agitates Dean's crew by pointing at them. They tell him to leave and Eggsy gets up like he's about to do something just to leave anyways. Bro was talking crazy not 2 seconds ago. In situations like this, you got an SOB, stand on business. And that's exactly what he does, cause they leave the pub and turns out he done stole his car keys. Sleight of hand goes crazy, they about to steal Buddy's car now. So they hop in the V. Buddy over here starts hearing noises outside and comes out to see them hitting donuts in his whip. Oh nah, the disrespect. Over here hitting the wanker sign as well. Now I know you American guys and gals don't really know about this, but in the UK it's at least the top 5 most disrespectful gesture. It's a very versatile player. You can put him in a lot of different situations, going against a rival team, road rage, or even just throwing it up to a friend as a joke. Like I said, a very versatile player, can even run the floor. Eggsy then drives off down the road but instantly gets stopped by the police, having to reverse back. Now I ain't gonna lie, this was insanely tough. Cutting up while running away from the police while in reverse at the same time is insane work. But they reverse into an alleyway. Eggsy peeps a fox standing in the middle of the road looking like a deer stuck in headlights and decides not to hit it, crashing into a car. He then tells the lads to get out the car, saying that he has a plan, and crashes straight into the police car. Now at first glance this may be the dumbest plan known to man, but he did it so his mans wouldn't get in trouble. Gotta respect respect it. So he gets arrested but ends up getting bailed out that same day, over here looking around like a miracle just happened. Guys be doing the same thing after their first pregnancy scare, never prayed a day in their lives but start looking up to God, thanking him like these. And it turns out Harry was the one that bailed him out, cause as you know, he's looking for his next protege to replace Lancelot. He tells Eggsy he gave him the medal he's wearing now and that he used to work with his dad, and they put up to the pub. And Harry's over here saying that he's massively disappointed in Eggsy. He was doing excellent in primary school, which is basically kindergarten, had a massive IQ and could have been a gymnastic Olympian, but did a complete 180 in secondary school. He developed the average year 9 accent.
These biscuits are very nice, you know.
The guy that got his car up and his crew then pull up ready to get their get back on Eggsy. They tell Harry to leave. He goes to exit the pub but ends up locking the door, saying manners maketh man. Got bro speaking like Shakespeare. And I don't even think I have to explain what's about to happen next. You guys already know. He hits the first guy with a glass to the head. Got bro looking like that one cop before he was James Bond trying to jump into a moving V. The next guy then throws a punch. He moves his fist away with his umbrella, causing him to punch his own body, taking out his whole tooth. Kick back, block, smack in the face, hit body with that liver shot, get your motherfucking hand off me, grabs him by the arm, punches him in the face and turns and pimp slaps the next guy with the umbrella. Buddy over here then pulls out the knife but ends up stabbing his old man's. Sweep, weave, uppercut with the umbrella. Had Eggsy over here watching in disbelief. This is like seeing the quiet kid suddenly pull the huzz out of nowhere, would have never seen it coming. He then activates his spidey sense, weaves and starts fencing, grabs Buddy by the shoulder with the umbrella, parry of doom, pushing him back and hits him with a magnetic electrical wire through the umbrella. He eventually takes out all the goons, hitting Buddy over here with that Spider-Man back-breaking hit, and Mini Minter over here decides to pull out the pole, but turns out the umbrella is a bulletproof shield you can see through. Mini Minter undoes the clip. Harry changes the setting to stun and hits bro in the head, causing him to do a whole backflip. He then hits the bartender with some amnesia cause he's trying to call the police, sits down, finishes his pint and goes to leave, but forces Eggsy to swear the secrecy before he does, tapping him on the shoulder and leaving the pub. And Eggsy's over here in utter shock. This is the craziest thing he's seen since Lucia's jiggle physics on the new GTA 6 trailer. Devs,
I know what kind of man you are.
Eggsy then goes home that day and Dean over here is on straight timing, hitting him with a two-piece, pinning him against the fridge and slapping him, asking him who the other two guys he was with the day he stole the whip. And turns out when Harry tapped Eggsy on the shoulder, he put a bug on it. He's over here sitting in his Batcave listening to all this on loudspeaker. Dean then pulls out a butcher's knife threatening Eggsy, but Harry steps in saying that he's got enough info to send him away to the pit for life, causing Dean to back up like he just heard a ghost, and Harry tells Eggsy to meet him at the tailor shop. He leaves the crib but is met with Dean's crew, so he has to hit some parkour to get away from them. And this scene right here had me outside every day hitting parkour moves thinking that was Niga Higa. If you know what I'm talking about, you a real one. So Eggsy pulls up to the tailor shop and Harry tells him that he sees he's got a lot of potential, and that even though his life has been semi-cooked so far, he knows he wants to change it around, giving him the offer to become a Kingsman agent. And of course Eggsy takes it, he ain't got nothing to lose. So Harry puts his handprint on the glass and the whole room turns into an elevator going down. They eventually get to the bottom and jump in the transportation tube from Lab Rats, hitting the GTA transition all the way to the Kingsman base. Harry then sends them off to the sleeping bunks with the other candidates, and Merlin over here briefs them saying that only one of them will be the Kingsman, the rest will either die or go home. Eggsy's over here looking around confused, he ain't signed up for anything like this. Buddy thought this was about to be a quick and easy process. Do you want to be a Kingsman? Yeah. Welcome to the league. Merlin then leaves telling them to find their beds, and Roxanne introduces herself. And you guys can't even lie, classy fashion has to be top 5. I am taking this over Ruby Rose or Sexy Red any day.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
But out of nowhere, Charlie and his 2 little minions decide to pull up and try make fun of Eggsy. How you gonna try make fun of a guy where your names are Digby, Rufus and Charlie? Has to be top 3 wisest names I've heard in my whole life, and that was the only black guy in my class. I just know that daddy's money goes insane. We then fast forward to everyone sleeping that night, and out of nowhere water starts to rise in the room, and it's going fast as hell. They got about 10 seconds before it fully engulfs them. Everyone then wakes up because for some reason the beds are feeling a bit wet, and I've got to give my respect to Charlie right here, because even though he's a spoiled kid, he remains calm in the situation, and him and Roxanne come up with the plan to use the shower heads and toilets for an air supply. And Eggsy's over here confused. They doing the most complicated stuff. He's trying to go down the simpler route, heading for the door. He swims over, tries to pull the door open, and his is over here looking like one of them crazy exes that just won't leave you alone. He eventually realizes that the door's not about to budge at all, pulls up to the rest of the squad and peeps that the mirror in their room is a two-way mirror. He swims over to it and just starts punching at it until it breaks, pulling them all out. Now I don't think you guys understand just how hard this is. Breaking two-way glass is hard enough, but in water is insane work. Bro must have been hit with that super soldier serum or something. I don't even think that's humanly possible. And Merlin over here has to be crazy. Bro really tried to murk them on the first test. At least he was able to get one though, cause he says that regardless of them being able to escape, they all still failed, pointing inside the room showing that one of them died cause they didn't use teamwork. Had everyone in shock. Bro was not kidding about people dying in this. Might as well be called the tuning exams. We then cut to the professor from the start of the movie pulling up to his uni, and Harry's already in his class waiting for him. Bro trying to aura farm, hitting the Duke Dennis, I've been expecting you. He starts to interrogate him like he's Batman, but out of nowhere the professor's head just pops, leaving a bunch of his blood splattered on Harry's face. He about to be traumatized in the same way Huey was. Two goons then pull up in the room, so Harry puts a bomb down and jumps out the window escaping. And Samuel L. Jackson over here is devastated that he had to murk Mr. Arnold with the implant he put in his neck. I just know the first guy who took that Neuralink chip from Elon Musk is watching this movie knowing he's cooked. If he steps out of line one time, Elon's about to blow up his whole head. We then cut back to training, and now their task is to pick a dog. They gonna have to take care of it, train it, and by the time it's trained, they're gonna be fully trained as well. And Eggsy over here decided to pick a pug out of every other option there was. Whole time he thought it was a bulldog, about to be massively disappointed like Kais and I, they do not grow. Eggsy then pulls up to the infirmary and sees that Harry's been put in a coma from the damage from both the explosions. Bro gonna wake up to see that Godzilla, Family Guy, Goku and Spider-Man have been added to Fortnite. The fall off is insane. We then go through a whole montage of them training. They doing running drills, written tests and sniper work. And Charlie and his little minions are over here pranking Eggsy, dumping water on him in his sleep. Instant fade. Harry eventually wakes up from his coma with a full beard, and we call over to Samuel L. Jackson as he's having a meeting with the princess and prime minister of Scandinavia. And the princess over here ain't messing with the plan at all. She ain't trying to be involved in any way, shape or form. So Samuel L. Jackson just decides to kidnap her because the prime minister over here is all for the plan, and he can't have her going back to Scandinavia and spilling all the tea. Eggsy then pulls up on Harry after he's awakened from his slumber, and he done shaving off that horrendous beard. This is one of them rare cases where shaving off the beard doesn't make you look like a whole new person, unlike Cash Nasty. Bro went from a man to a boy. The voice didn't even match the face anymore, sounded like one of them voice changes. They then get to talking, and we find out that Eggsy's made it to the final top 6 candidates. Merlin then comes in showing the footage from the professor, and they see that his head exploded because of a chip in his neck. They find out that he has connections to Valentino, and Eggsy pulls up his new announcement, and he's over here looking like Steve Jobs, saying that he's about to create a new SIM card that will give everyone free internet and free calls forever. Sounds like a scam to me. They then peep that Valentino's assistant has the same implant scar, and now Harry wants to go have a word with him, so Merlin gets him a ticket to his next party. He better be careful at that. He's about to open the door and see Diddy staring at him dead in the face. As soon as he starts rubbing his hands, you know it's time to exit the premise immediately. It's the same way when seeing a pure white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes start crying in the function. Yes, time to wrap it up. And you better record yourself leaving as well, just for extra security. Harry then pulls up to Valentino's party, and he done cancelled the whole event just to have dinner with Harry. This would have been sending off red flags in my head like crazy. Cancelling a whole party for dinner is insane.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
And this whole dinner scene is just them trying to suss each other out, trying to figure out what they're up to. Harry then leaves, pulling up to Arthur to report, and says that the only piece of information he got was a church hate group that Valentino might be associated with. We then cut over to Merlin and the last 3 candidates, and this time their task is to win over a target. Got Eggsy over here happy as hell like a black man seeing chicken, cause the target's a go. He's about to use all the Riz lessons he learned from me. We then cut to them at the club, and they're all trying to Riz up the target, but
yo, Max, your card declined, bro.
I know DDG will be proud. Stop. Her butler then pulls up out of nowhere saying that she's needed elsewhere. She leaves, and suddenly the whole squad gets knocked out with Eggsy waking up on the railway. Buddy over here done hit all of them with the Rick Ross. The train starts to come, Eggsy starts to panic, and Cal Freezy says he'll cut him loose if he tells him what Kingsman is and who Harry Hart is. But Eggsy ain't no snitch, he doesn't say niche to them, and the train passes by, cutting bro into 3 pieces. But turns out this was all a test. He actually went underneath the tracks, and Harry pulls up up saying well done. Eggsy asks about the others, Roxanne's already passed and Charlie's up next. So we cut to Charlie's test and bro ain't waste no time to give up the info. Ain't even received the Happy Meal, bro did it for the free ski. The train then goes past, Charlie pops up from underneath the tracks and Arthur's there, telling bro he's so disappointed and he ain't even tried to keep the secret, and Arthur just leaves without untying him. Got Charlie over here begging like these streamers to Kai Streamer University. Got people in the comments saying they don't even put this much effort into a job application, but nowadays you basically have to do the same thing, it's cooked. So Charlie fails and Roxanne and Eggsy are the last two remaining candidates. And we then cut to Harry and Eggsy pulling up to the tailor shop, and Harry shows him the weapons room. We got shoes with knives in them that are poisonous, umbrella guns, pistol shotguns, and Ja Morant's favorite weapon. They then come out the weapons room into the main lobby just to see Samuel L. Jackson come out the other room in the same fit he won the Kendrick Lamar show, and he's over here saying that it's a coincidence to see him there. Whole time he plays the tracker on him. He's over here acting like your girl catching you outside when you say you're gonna be at the crib. She done found your location and started tracking you down. So they then leave, but Harry done put a bug in his top hat. He can hear every word he says, about to get done like Shannon Sharp. Eggsy then pulls up on Arthur the next day, and Arthur gives him a gun to shoot his dog as the final test. Eggsy's over here pointing the gun in his face, and like guys that don't know how to take hints, he don't know what's going on. But after looking into them big beady eyes, Eggsy just can't do it and he points the gun at Arthur. But they hear a big bang in the other room, and Roxanne actually did it, with Eggsy giving the gun back to Arthur and being told to get out. Eggsy then hops in the fake taxi and Roxanne pulls up on Arthur as they make her the official new Lancelot. And Eggsy's over here acting like he's Spider-Man back at the crib, putting down his suit and putting back on his old clothes. He then sees his mum and she's over here worried, she ain't seen him in months. She don't even know where he went, bro just upped and disappeared, not even a letter or a text. Damn. He peeps the bruise on her face cause of Dean and instantly jumps back in the taxi ready to go smoke bro. So he pulls up on Dean and his crew. Dean tells his guys to go inside so he can run the fair one, but just before Eggsy can get out the V, the glass rolls up and the car drives off by itself. The taxi has to be Bumblebee or something, bro picked the wrong car to steal. So the car drives itself to Harry's house and bro's highly disappointed. He had the chance to become a Kingsman and didn't decide to take the shot. The whole time the shot was a blank, he would have walked out with his dog anyways. The question should have been, will you murk this dog for £3 million? I just know he would have upped the poll effective immediately. Harry then gets a call from Merlin saying that he should listen into Valentino, saying that if their test goes well at the church tomorrow, their plan will be set. So Harry decides to leave and go to the church first to foil their plans. So he pulls up to the church and Valentino's over here watching from the shadows, and through the SIM cards he created in everyone's phones, he turns up the frequency, turning everyone into Aaron the plumber, just extra aggressive for no reason, including Harry. He pulls out a pole, violating some random lady, and then goes on a killing spree, murking every single person in the building. I don't even think I can show this on YouTube, I ain't even gonna try it, but just know he was going stupid. Break the pole, stick to the heart like he's a vampire and a pistol whip. I'm crying, buddy over here ain't never been hit with that type of pain. But we gonna have to fast forward and Harry's finished taking out all the people, got everyone slumped, and he leaves the building just to see Valentino and his guards putting the blicks at him. And Valentino over here told bro this ain't no fairy tale, there's no way out of this one, shooting bro directly in the head. Got Eggsy, Merlin and Arthur watching this in utter shock, they can't believe it. Valentino then leaves telling his bodyguards to clean up the mess, and Eggsy pulls one up for Harry before pulling up on Arthur. And Arthur tells them they got Valentino's confession on the recording on Harry's suit. Bro done incriminated himself without even knowing it. So their work here is done and they're gonna pass it on to the relevant authorities. Arthur then tells him to sit down, and as he's pouring up for the both of them, Eggsy peeps that he has the same implant scar that all of Valentino's associates have. Bro's been a snake this whole time. He's working for the enemy. Yo,
sick to my stomach, fam. Somebody go smoke that you.
Eggsy then asks what those pictures are. Arthur explains that they're the founding members and they both take a drink to Harry's death. But Arthur then peeps that Eggsy's clocked on to him switching sides, seeing that the drink he just took had poison in it. And when he clicks his button, it's gonna activate, killing him. But before he does so, he's over here acting like he's Darth Vader, telling bro to join him on the dark side. Of course, Eggsy declines and Arthur switches on the button. But Eggsy over here seems to be fine to me. And Arthur is actually the one that starts to tweak out. Turns out Eggsy done switched the cops when he asks about the pictures.
That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
So Arthur then dies and Eggsy decides to cut open bro's neck to get the chip and picks up his phone, showing that they're about to send out the frequency everywhere around the world in 6 hours. About to turn the whole world into New York City after the Knicks win the chip this year. Whole place about to look like Gotham City. You already see how crazy Knicks fans are, just imagine if they win the chip. So Eggsy brings this info to Merlin and Roxanne, and all three of them hop in the private jet with Merlin coming up with the plan to stop this, saying that Roxanne will have to fly up just below the atmosphere and shoot down one of the satellites to delay their plans, so that Eggsy can infiltrate their base and get Merlin into the system, so that he can hack into it like one of them nerds from the Disney movie, shutting down their whole operation. And we then find out that the reason Valentino's been putting chips in people's necks is because they're frequency blockers, stopping them from becoming Danny G from Birmingham, and that's why he's gathering all his investors with the chips in their neck to celebrate the event. So Roxanne then makes her way to space like she's Katy Perry. That was so fake. Dodon came off midway through. They really thought they could fool us. And Eggsy gets suited and booted, getting ready to pull up to the party with Arthur's ticket, and I ain't gonna lie, he got that shit all though. The suit is very clean. He's over here looking in the mirror knowing he's that guy. I just know he's thinking to himself, I could do with a little bit of pum pum right now. So they pull up to the base where the party's happening. Eggsy introduces himself as Chester King and gets walked into the party with Merlin talking in his ear telling him to get to a computer. So after a long ass walk, they finally make it to the party and Eggsy peeps a laptop he can hack into. And at the same time this is going on, Roxanne reaches her spot to fire at the satellite. She looks on, and just as she's about to fire, one of the balloons holding her up pops. Yeah, this would have been it for me. Mission over. Would have started panicking like crazy, looking like Kevin Hart after people found out that he attended the Diddy parties before his whole career was over. Eggsy then pulls up on the guy with the laptop, hits him with a stealth takedown and plugs Merlin into the system. But just as he does this, some random pulls up behind him with a knife, talking about some guess who like he's a super senior with a freshman, and turns out it's Charlie, but he done switched sides the moment he got cut from the team. We then cut back to Roxanne as she just about locks on, firing the missile at the satellite just before the balloon can pop, sending her plummeting back down like Lil TJ's rap career. Charlie then forces Eggsy to stand up, showing Valentino that he caught the spy, but Eggsy hits him with an electric shock, sucker punch in the face, and jumps off the second platform back onto the ground. Lowkey should have broken a bone. Eggsy then goes to run back to the plane, but Valentino over here ain't trying to take no chances, sounding the alarm and cutting down the time to 2 minutes. And I've gotta say, these guards' aim is absolutely horrific, cause how are you missing shots like these? I get the suit's bulletproof, but gang, it's not made out of vibranium. Some of these have to hit. They must have hired the same guys that worked as the stormtroopers, cause the fact they're missing this much is genuinely impressive. So as Eggsy's absolutely cooking these guards, hitting wall jumps like this is a game, the 10-second countdown starts at the start of the event. Flips over the first guy, shooting the guy behind him, blocks, grabs body, hits him with a suplex, and shoots the guy behind him while laying down. I don't remember a single lesson where they taught that during the training. The countdown eventually hits 0, but the missile hits the satellite just in time, disrupting the system, causing a system failure. Eggsy then reaches back to the plane with Merlin covering his back, but Merlin tells him he's got to go back in to stop Valentine's hand from touching the desk, cause he's got a handprint on it which allows him to start the event back up. Eggsy then grabs Mary Poppins' umbrella and runs back out. He's over here hitting the Spider-Man pose, and Valentino over here gets on the phone with one of his investors, telling him to move his satellite closer to his so he can relink the chain. Some of the soldiers then pull up on Eggsy, but he blocks the shots with the umbrella and then starts hitting them with impact webs. But Buddy over here pulls out the silence bow action sniper, shooting straight through the shield. So Eggsy puts the lessons he learned from John Moran into good use, throwing a bomb at them, turning all of them into Darth Vader. He runs off but ends up getting cornered off on both sides, having to hide in the doorway of one of the cells. And he knows he's cooked. That suit may be bulletproof, but if he runs out now, he's about to get done like Quicksilver. And Merlin's over here cooked as well. They done brought out a bunch of missiles to blow Buddy up, but Eggsy comes up with the idea for Merlin to hack into the chips in their necks and blow each of their heads up. And we get this beautiful orchestrated scene of all of their heads popping. They over here doing it in synchronization like this is a sport. 10s all across the board. So the guards around Eggsy are now gone, but someone starts banging on the cell behind him. He opens up the hatch and it's the princess that got kidnapped earlier, and she's over here saying that if he gets her out, she'll give him more than a kiss.
She want me. She want me.
But just before Eggsy can open up the door to get some, Valentine starts speaking on the intercom, saying that they thought he was dumb enough to put one of them chips inside of his head, and that he didn't stop nothing. The satellite reaches its destination and he puts his hand on the desk, starting the event. The frequency starts to go off for people at the beach, people in the stands at a baseball game, and even Eggsy's mom. Luckily, Roxanne done called her, telling her to lock the baby away in the bathroom and throw away the key. Eggsy then tells the princess that he's gotta go save the world real quick and that he'll be right back, picking up a scar and running off. And while this is happening, the whole world done turned into MMA fighters. London is going crazy and people on the beach in Brazil are hitting each other with the capoeira. But Eggsy pulls up on them, shooting at the bulletproof glass, causing Shorty over here to pull Valentino off the table, telling him to duck down, which causes everyone to calm down, confused on why the guy underneath them looks like Conquest. I'm crying. Buddy over here is holding his head. You just know he was getting fried. Gazelle then tells Valentino that she's gonna go handle Eggsy, jumping out the window and shooting at him, with Eggsy blocking the shots using the scar. He then goes to shoot again. She cuts it in two, gets back up, weave, triple block, matter of fact quadruple block, and weaves again. Weave, block, and blocks again, but it causes him to hit a forward backflip like 10 feet forward. Bro got hit with a physics-defying kick. Valentino then puts his hand back on the platform, causing everyone to go crazy again, including Eggsy's mom. She done picked up a butcher's knife, trying to get into the bathroom where the baby's at. Broke the door open and is over here looking like KSI and his diss track to Logan. They even hit a standoff like this is Marvel Rivals and charge in. Weave, elbow to the liver, elbow to the face, and Eggsy tries to come in with a pimp slap, but misses, gets grabbed, and she starts hitting with a scorpion kick like she's that one goalie. Eggsy then picks up one of them bottle mix-up thingies, misses twice, she gets up, block, and she just decides to turn into a whole fidget spinner, doing the most on the floor. Gotta give my props though, she was doing way better than whatever the breakdancers at the Olympics were doing. But Eggsy flips over her, she charges back in, landing on the table and starts flipping over Eggsy. He jumps, grabbing a fruit bowl, weave, and she hits a front flip, cutting the bowl in half. Grabs Eggsy knee to the stomach and Eggsy kicks them both away. They then both get back up, charging at each other, jumping in the air. Eggsy weaves a flying kick, over here looking like Fly reacts. Hits the heel click, activating the knife in the shoe and cuts her in the arm. They both then land, Eggsy's tires cut and the poison starts to activate in Gazelle, turning her all green and she dies. I thought she was about to turn into She-Hulk, about to see her Megan Thee Stallion twerking at the end of the movie for no reason. Eggsy then grabs Gazelle's knife feet, activates the knife and hits the cleanest javelin throw straight into the back of Valentino, taking his hand off the platform and got bro vomiting up his dinner from last night, completing the mission. And this was just in time because Eggsy's mom done got into the bathroom with the baby. Valentino then falls from the platform, Eggsy pulls up on him hitting a one-liner, and Valentino dies after hearing the whack joke that just came out of Eggsy's mouth. But you know that boy Eggsy's got his priorities straight, because without a lick of hesitation grabs a bottle of champagne, 2 glasses, and pulls back up to the princess's room. Merlin tells him the code to the cell, he goes down laying with the princess, and you can guess what happens next. And this is basically the end of the movie, except from the end credit scene where Eggsy pulls back up to the pub to see his mum, Dean, and his crew, and tells his mum he's got a new crib, let's bounce. Dean tells him to leave. Eggsy goes to exit the pub but hits him with the same thing Harry did, locking the doors and saying that manners maketh men, and hitting Dean with a glass in the forehead. The get back about to be generational. But this is now the end of the movie, absolute certified classic. Rewatch reminded me how tough this movie was. I know you guys wanted How to Train Your Dragon 2 and it's coming next, don't worry. But hopefully you enjoyed this vid. All glory to God, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.